You probably have some friends that have entered in a relationship not feeling good enough. So in your mind, it's like, well, I don't need to do the work. I can hope for the best to find my type and pray God that she will want to enter in a long term relationship. And that can happen. I mean, if your friends haven't done the work and attracted a relationship, it means it can work. So it's not even up to God. It's not even luck. It can happen. The problem with this is that it comes with risks. Because when you don't feel good enough and decide to enter in a long term relationship with someone, maybe you find a woman that is not really reflecting your standards, meaning that, well, she's not going to the gym, she's not really feminine, she's not really radiant, she's not devoted to you, she's not, cooking for you, cleaning, being a woman that really reflect what you want from a woman, right? So, some people might say, oh, but you can never find a perfect woman, which is true. You will never find a perfect woman. But can you actually honor your standards? And it's really difficult to honor your standards when you don't feel good enough. So you're going to basically lower the bar, right? You're going to lower your standards and be like, okay, I'll just be with her. All good. I will not look at the defaults, the problems. On the other side, you can enter in a long-term relationship with that person and then end up in a dysfunctional relationship, meaning that you deal with gaslighting, manipulation, constant arguments, maybe some forms of cheating, maybe lying, maybe hiding. And I could go on and on with this list of like, yeah, people are in a relationship, but it's so dysfunctional, it's so unfulfilling. How the fuck are they able to stay in such a relationship? They don't even love each other, right? So then the whole idea of like wanting to be in a relationship is not really attractive when you have all these examples of really dysfunctional relationship because they don't feel good enough inside. Now, I'm not saying that all relationships are failing or are dysfunctional because of not feeling good enough. Okay, I'm not saying because of that, but the thing is, it's a big issue. You can cheat from a place of not feeling good enough. You can lie from a place of not feeling good enough. You can hide certain things from a place of not feeling good enough. You can constantly be triggered by your partner from a place of not feeling good enough. Right. And again, I could go on and on and on and give you so many different examples of how this is manifesting. It's crazy. It's a pure sickness. And I really believe that to some extent, the whole humanity is dealing with not feeling good enough, right? Now, that's a whole topic in itself, and I don't want to go too deep into this because that's not the point of the video. But I'm saying, like, it's a real thing. And lastly, a relationship can end up with a breakup or a divorce because one of the party is just not feeling good enough. And it ends up sabotaging the whole fucking relationship. And then you deal with maybe her taking half of your asset. You deal with feeling lonely. Maybe she will take the custody of your children. I mean, it's really fucked up how a lot of relationships are ending up because sometimes, not always, because it's not, it's not black and white. And of course, that not all the problems come from not feeling good enough, but sometimes it does. And imagine you have a failed relationship because you didn't feel good enough, or maybe she didn't feel good enough. That's how fucked up it is, right? So that's why I keep on talking about doing the internal work to understand like which part of myself is blocking me to feel good enough. Because if we look at it logically, right, on the surface, like, why wouldn't we be good enough? We are good enough, god damn it, right? And I mean, you could argue like, oh, but I didn't achieve this. I didn't do this. I don't have the perfect body. I don't have the perfect height. I'm not like super good looking, blah, blah, blah. You have so many excuses, but even if you achieve all these things, right? Even if you have all of that, you might still feel not good enough. I'm sure you've experienced this. Like, you achieve something that was very meaningful to you, and then when you're on the top, you're like, wait a minute, I still don't feel good enough. This is exactly what happened to me when I started to have results with women. right? I was coming from a place of like being bullied in high school. No woman gave me any attention. I was really, really shy, super introverted. So for me to talk to a woman, it was like the biggest challenge ever. But when I started to have results, because I worked on my look, because I worked on my conversational skills, because I worked on my vibe, my confidence, my masculinity, I remember I was like, what, what, what is happening? I have all these results. Why am I not happy? It was so crazy, you know. So the same thing for a relationship. You can be in a relationship and not be truly fulfilled, right? And it doesn't matter what you do in a relationship, you will not be fulfilled. And then you end up sabotaging the whole dynamic. And that's why you have these dysfunctional relationships and then divorce, breakup, and stuff like that. So, like I'm saying, you can decide if you want to enter in a relationship without feeling good enough. But you're going to have to deal with the consequences later on. So it's up to you at this point, right? Now, my recommendation is, of course, to start doing the work right now. I am not saying that you're going to feel good enough in 2 months from now and you're going to be able to attract your ideal woman into a long-term relationship like this, like magic. No, the work keeps on happening, right? Even to this day, I am still working on feeling good enough, right? And I'm getting better and better and better. Now, when it comes down to being in a relationship, I do feel good enough. It's just that for me, feeling good enough manifests in different areas of my life, right? Not in a relationship. Because I worked so hard to actually deserve my ideal woman, right? So I want to give you a little bit of value here, a little bit of a training so that you can start working on feeling good enough for your ideal woman, okay? So the first thing you want to do is to identify your thoughts, maybe your emotions, the sensations in your body that lead you to believe that you aren't good enough for your ideal woman, right? So maybe when you're walking in the street and you see this beautiful woman, you keep on saying to yourself, she's outside of my league. That can be a story that you're telling yourself, a thought that you're telling yourself. Maybe when you have a date with a really beautiful woman, you feel this anxiety, this inadequacy, this, I need to prove her that I'm so cool and blah, blah, blah. That's another blockage, a subconscious block, right? And I mean, I could give you so many different examples of how it manifests, but I'm pretty sure now you understand the gist of it, yeah? So you want to identify all these stories, all these thoughts, and you want to like write them down, right? And then what you want to do is to rewire them, yeah? You want to rewire them. So how does it look like? So let's take again the example of she is outside of my league, right? That's a very negative story to tell to yourself. That is so like, how can you attract this woman that is in front of you when you're telling yourself that she's outside of your league? There's no way you do it. You have to actually believe it. Now, you cannot lie to yourself. So you cannot suddenly say, oh, I deserve her now because I said it. No, it doesn't work like this. So when you rewire this subconscious block, when you rewire this shadow, this limiting belief, or whatever you call it, you have to be honest with yourself. So here's a way to do it that will potentially be more authentic to you. Instead of saying she's outside of my league, you can say, I'm in the process of deserving this kind of woman. And can you see the different kind of energy this sentence is? You're not stuck at she's outside of my league. Now you're slowly growing, you're moving forward towards I am good enough for her. And this is a much healthier story to tell yourself than she's outside of my league, right? And it's still true, right? You're not good enough yet, but you're in the process of becoming that. And that changes everything. If you keep on repeating yourself these healthier stories, you're going to start changing the way you behave. You're going to start changing the way you think, the way you feel. You're going to start changing your very actions, right? And you might end up talking to her, right? You might feel more relaxed when you're on a date. You might feel super confident to invite her home, right? And you might feel like, you know what? I deserve to be in a relationship with her. And here we go, boom. you enter in a healthier relationship than, oh, she's outside of my league, there's no way she will like me, she will find a way to cheat on me, blah, blah, blah. That's a much healthier story to tell yourself than all these bullshit things that you keep on repeating into your mind, right? So let me know how this exercise goes. I really want to know your experience with it, not just, listening to me and then looking at the next video. I really want you to practice that and start growing. And, if you can let me know what's your experience, that would really make my heart melt, like literally melt. Thank you for watching, my brother. I see you when I see you.